Namaste. Welcome to the lecture series on the subject Applied Thermodynamics, Module 2, Gas Power Cycles. This is lecture number 4. Myself, Dr. N. Satish Kumar, Associate Professor of Mechanical Engineering, Canara Engineering College, Bantwal. Now, in the last lecture, we discussed the various methods to improve the efficiency of the Brayton cycle. So, what we discussed are the regeneration method, intercooling, and the reheat. Now, we'll discuss the combination of all the three, that is, ideal regenerative cycle with the intercooling and reheat. So, considerable amount improvement in efficiency is possible by incorporating all the three modifications simultaneously. So, let us consider a regenerative gas turbine cycle with a two-stage compression and a single reheat. You can see here the compression is carried out in two stages, 1 to 2 and 3 to 4, and the expansion is also carried out in two stages, 6 to 7 and 7 to 8. So here it is reheated back to its temperature 6, that's T6 is equal to T8. Here also perfect intercooling, T1 is equal to T3. And also you are going for the regeneration, right? So some of the heat of the exhaust gases from the turbine, that is at T9, which is higher than T4, is absorbed by passing the hot gases from the exit of the turbine through this regenerator, where the second compressor outlet is also made to pass, so that there will be heat transfer from the hot gases from the turbine to the air leaving the compressor. So this is the flow diagram, and the next one is the TS diagram. So idealized regenerative Brayton cycle with a two-stage compression with intercooling and also two-stage expansion with reheating. Ideal regenerator, equal pressure ratio for stages, no irreversibilities, perfect intercooling and reheating. So whenever you talk about idealized regenerative cycle, so here it is having two-stage compression with perfect intercooling, two-stage expansion with perfect reheating, right, and equal pressure ratio for all the stages. That means P2 by P1 is equal to P4 by P3 is also equal to P6 by P7 is also equal to P8 by P9, and there are no irreversibilities. That means all the compression and the expansion process are considered to be isentropic. So now heat added during this process is nothing but Q1 is equal to Cp into T6 minus T5, and also during reheat, that is Cp into T8 minus T7. Turbine output, since this is a two-stage expansion, so first turbine is, or LP turbine is Cp into T6 minus T7, and second, or HP turbine, it is Cp into T8 minus T9. And compressor input, again two compressors are there. So LP compressor Cp into T2 minus T1 and HP compressor Cp into T4 minus T3. So as you know, the efficiency of the cycle is Wt minus Wc by Q1. So if you substitute, you'll get after simplification efficiency as T6 minus T7 plus T8 minus T9 minus T2 minus T1 minus T4 minus T3 divided by T6 minus T5 plus T8 minus T7. So this is the expression for the idealized Brayton cycle with regeneration, perfect intercooling and perfect reheat with the two-stage compression and expansion. If perfect intercooling, no irreversibilities, equal pressure ratio for stages and ideal regenerator is assumed. You see, if the regeneration is also ideal, then the temperature of the air which leaves the regenerator will be equal to the exit temperature of the turbine. So that also you have to note down. So for all these cases, T1 is equal to T3, perfect intercooling. T2 is equal to T4 is equal to T10, right? That means the temperature at the end of the first stage compression, temperature at the end of the second stage compression are also equal, and T6 is equal to T8, perfect reheat, and T5 is equal to T7 is equal to T9. Okay, now Q1 is equal to Cp into T6 minus T5 plus Cp into T8 minus T7 but T8 is equal to T6 and T7 as it is. So T5 is equal to T7. So you can write it as 2 Cp into T6 minus T7. So slowly you observe here and go through the simplification. Okay. Similarly, Q2, that is heat rejected, is equal to Cp into T10 minus T1 plus Cp into T2 minus T3. So once again, T10 is equal to T2 and T3 is equal to T1. So you'll get heat rejected as 2 into Cp into T2 minus T1. So writing for expression for efficiency, so eta is equal to 1 minus Q2 by Q1. So Q2 is 2 Cp into T2 minus T1 and Q1 is 2 Cp into T6 minus T7. So 2 Cp gets cancelled. So it becomes 1 minus T2 minus T1 divided by T6 minus T7. Now taking T1 outside from the numerator and T6 from the denominator, so inside the bracket you will get as T2 by T1 minus 1 minus T7 by T6. Now T1 is nothing but the minimum temperature of the cycle and T6 is nothing but the maximum temperature of the cycle. Now this T2 by T1 you take it outside here, right? So numerator becomes 1 minus T1 by T2 and denominator remains same as 1 minus T7 by T6. Now as we know, all the compression and expansion processes are isentropic. So T1 by T2 you can write as P1 by P2 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, which is also equal to P3 by P4 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, which is also equal to P7 by P6 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, which can be written as T7 by T6. That means T1 by T2 is equal to T7 by T6. So these two terms gets cancelled. So therefore you will get efficiency as 1 minus T min by T max into T2 by T1, but T2 by T1 you can write as P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. So this is the expression for this idealized cycle in terms of maximum temperature, minimum temperature and the pressure ratio. But we know that P2 is equal, P2 by P1 is equal to P4 by P3. Since P2 is equal to P3 because constant pressure cooling, P2 is equal to P3. So this also you can write as P2. So it becomes cross multiplied. P2 square is equal to P1 P4. Or if you divide it by P1 square both sides, so P2 by P1 whole square becomes P4 by P1, or P2 by P1 is equal to P4 by P1 to the power half. That means individual stage pressure ratio is the square root of the overall pressure ratio. So here P4 by P1 is nothing but the overall pressure ratio. That is, initial pressure is P1, after second stage compression the pressure will be P4. So that is the overall pressure ratio. So individual stage pressure ratio P2 by P1 becomes square root of overall pressure ratio, since both the stages having equal pressure ratios. So you can substitute in place of P2 by P1 in the efficiency expression and you can get eta is equal to 1 minus T min by T max into P4 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by 2 gamma. So P4 by P1 is nothing but square root of is P2 by P1 whole square, right? So P2 by P1 is Rp, so stage pressure ratio. So also you can write as eta is equal to 1 minus T min by T max into Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. So here Rp is nothing but P2 by P1. Okay. So it can be seen from this expression that the efficiency decreases with increasing pressure ratio Rp. That means if stage pressure ratio is increased, then the efficiency will decrease. Now effect of pressure ratio Rp on simple Brayton cycle. So for that you have to consider the efficiency expression for the simple Brayton cycle. So go back, recollect. So efficiency of the simple Brayton cycle is 1 minus 1 by Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. That means the more the pressure ratio, the more will be the efficiency. So according to this expression, if Rp is increased, so this 1 minus quantity it becomes smaller. So 1 minus a smaller quantity, so and eta quantity becomes more. So temperature T1 or T min is dependent on the temperature of the surroundings. excuse me. So here T1 or the entry point to the first compressor or the compressor is nothing but the atmospheric or the temperature of the surroundings, whereas T3 is equal to Tmax is limited by metallurgical considerations. So depending upon the material of what you are selecting, so you have to fix what should be the maximum temperature in the turbine, and also the metallurgical as well as the heat resistant characteristics of the turbine blade material, because turbine has to withstand this high temperature. So based on this metallurgical and heat resistant characteristics, you have to fix what should be the value of T3. So for fixed value of Tmin and Tmax, that is T1 and T3 for simple Brayton cycle, the variation in net output, heat added, efficiency with increasing pressure ratio can be explained with the help of a TS diagram. Now here you can see the TS diagram. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 is a simple Brayton cycle, right? Like this. Okay, I'm doing not overwriting over that. So for low pressure ratio, the net work output is small and the cycle efficiency is small. Low pressure ratio means P2 by P1 is small. So P2, if it comes very close to P1, so then you have low pressure ratio, right? So then automatically, so the area becomes very less. So net work output becomes less. So cycle efficiency also becomes less. If P2 becomes equal to P1, then same line. See, there is no 1, 2, 3, 4 is the same line. So P2 by P1 means it is equal to 1. So there is no efficiency. So when the pressure ratio is 1, you can see the efficiency is 0. So when P2 by P1 is equal to 1, efficiency is 0, because here it is pressure ratio R versus efficiency. So when the pressure ratio is 1, the efficiency is 0. As the limit Rp tends to 1, the efficiency tends to 0. Actually, it doesn't become in reality, so that's why it is written tends to. If Rp tends to 1, efficiency tends to 0, but reality, compressor has to compress the air to some pressure, so P2 will not become equal to P1. Now let us increase the pressure ratio. The work output also increases, so does the efficiency, because it is net work output by heat input, so efficiency increases, that you can see from this curve also. So the efficiency keep on increasing. So however, there is an upper limit for pressure ratio Rp when the compression ends at Tmax. So this is the Tmax. So P2 by P1, so pressure ratio, so 2 may come here, pressure ratio increases, again it may come here, and further, see, it may come very close like this. You can see the net area enclosed by the curve becomes very small, so net workout becomes very small. Also 2 to 3, so this is 3 double dash, if I can take 2 double dash and 3 double dash. So this length 2 to 3 is the heat addition, as all of you know. So this is the heat addition. So here also heat addition. So heat addition becomes less. So there is an upper limit for Rp when compression ends at Tmax. So as Rp approaches this upper limit, Rp max, area reduces, that means net work output reduces. So heat added also approaches to 0 value. So this further, if I move on, so it becomes single line. That means no area, right? And there is no 2 to 3 also. 2 and 3 becomes overlapping. So there is no heat added or input also. So where it can be seen that mean temperature of heat addition T add approaches Tmax. So when this reaches here, so T2 plus T3 by 2 becomes almost equal to Tmax, because T2 and T3 are very close to Tmax. So T3 is Tmax, T2 is also approaching very close to Tmax. So average of that is that means average temperature of heat addition, that is 2 to 3. So it also approaches Tmax. While the mean temperature of heat rejection reaches T minimum is here. As the point 4 becomes closer to 1, so T1 and T4 is almost equal. So 1 to 4, average of 1 and 4. So that is the average temperature of heat rejection also approaches T min as the Rp reaches Rp max. So hence the cycle efficiency is given by 1 minus T rejection by T addition. So it approaches the Carnot cycle efficiency as 1 minus T min by T max. So for the maximum pressure ratio, That means when the RP is maximum, so the efficiency of the Brayton cycle is equal to the efficiency of the Carnot cycle. So when the compression ends at Tmax, right? So state point 2 is at Tmax. So then the pressure RP will be RP max. So RP max to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, that is P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, is equal to T2 by T1 is equal to Tmax by Tmin, or RP max is equal to Tmax by Tmin to the power gamma by gamma minus 1. So Brayton cycle efficiency is nothing but 1 minus 1 by Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. So you can write as 1 minus 1 by Tmax by Tmin, or 1 minus Tmin by Tmax. So that is how it is proved that the efficiency of the Brayton cycle at Rp is equal to Rp max is equal to eta Carnot. Right. So the variation of net work output with pressure ratio is shown below. So as the pressure ratio starts from 0, so net work output is also 0. So as the pressure ratio increases, the W net also increases, it reaches a maximum value and further it decreases. So that is clearly evident from the TS diagram also. So as the RP increases from 1 to RP max, W net increases from 0 and reaches maximum at an optimum value of RP, that is called as RP optimal. And further increase in RP, it reduces and becomes 0 when RP is equal to RP max. So when this is RP max. So when RP max, the W net becomes 0, because area, as I told you earlier in the one of the previous slides, the net area enclosed becomes 0 at RP max. So in between you have a pressure ratio where you have maximum W output, or a W net maximum. So that value is called as RP optimum. So that is the optimum pressure ratio. Now pressure ratio for maximum net work output. So what is this value of RP optimum for maximum net work output? You have to find out. So you know that for a simple Brayton cycle, W net is equal to Cp into T3 minus T4 minus T2 minus T1. So this is the turbine work, Cp into T3 minus T4, and Cp into T2 minus T1 is the compressor work. So turbine work minus compressor work. So T3 is equal to Tmax and T1 is equal to Tmin. And as all of you know, T3 by T4 is P3 by P4 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. It can be written as Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. So you can write T4 is equal to T3 by Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, or Tmax divided by Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Similarly, you can write T2 by T1 is equal to P2 by P1 to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, or Rp to the power gamma minus 1. But T1 is Tmin. So T2 is equal to T1 into Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. T1 is nothing but Tmin into Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. That means here T4 and T2 are expressed in terms of Tmax and Tmin. So T4 is Tmax by Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, whereas T2 is equal to Tmin into Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Now substitute there. So W net is equal to Cp. So first term here is T3. So T3 is nothing but Tmax. So T4 is nothing but Tmax divided by Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma, minus T2 is nothing but Tmin into Rp to the power gamma minus 1 minus gamma divided by gamma, and minus T1 is nothing but Tmin. So now Cp as it is. So from these two terms take Tmax outside, and from these two terms take Tmin outside. So here you will get inside the bracket 1 minus 1 by Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma. Here you will get Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma minus 1. Now for the condition for maximum W net is the derivative of W net expression with respect to pressure ratio should be equal to 0. Means you have the W net expression from the previous slide. So if you differentiate that with respect to Rp, because you want the condition for maximum work output in terms of pressure ratio, right? So you have to integrate differentiate with respect to Rp, and that should be equal to 0. So if you differentiate that, here Cp outside, so this becomes minus Tmax minus gamma minus 1 by gamma into Rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma minus 1. Here minus Tmin into gamma minus 1 by gamma, into rp to the power gamma minus 1 by gamma minus 1. So here Tmax, after simplification, next line, Tmax into gamma minus 1 by gamma into rp to the power 1 by gamma minus 2 minus Tmin into gamma minus 1 by gamma rp to the power 1 by gamma. So this I won't, if I read that doesn't look good. So just to keep trying simplifying this, and finally you end up with the expression rp to the power 2 into gamma minus 1 by gamma is equal to Tmax by Tmin or rp optimum, because whatever the pressure ratio you are finding is optimum pressure ratio, that is nothing but Tmax by Tmin to the power gamma by 2 into gamma minus 1, or rp optimum is Tmax by Tmin to the power gamma by gamma minus 1, right? So that is rp. So it becomes rp optimum is equal to root of, because here it is 1 by 2 of rp max, so it becomes root of rp max. So rp optimum is square root of maximum pressure ratio, that is rp max. So this is how you have to prove the condition for maximum W net in terms of pressure ratio. So now if you substitute W net max is equal to W net by rp is equal to rp opt is equal to T max by T min to the power gamma by 2 into gamma minus 1. If you substitute in the expression for W net max, so Cp into T max minus T max into T max by T min, and to the power similarly minus T min into T max by T min, this power plus T min. So if you simplify, you will get W net maximum is equal to root of T max minus root of T min whole square. Right, so condition corresponding to rp is equal to rp optimum when W net is maximum, cycle efficiency is given by this expression, and after simplification you will get it as 1 minus root of T min by T max. So it cannot be understood just by reading these lines. So keep on working on this, substitute in the W net expression and keep on simplifying. So then you will get the W net expression and also the efficiency maximum efficiency expression when W net is maximum, that is root of 1 minus efficiency is equal to 1 minus root of T min by T max. Now coming to the last topic of this turbine part, so that is the open cycle gas turbine plants. So already during introduction I explained this schematic diagram. So in practice a gas turbine plant works on open cycle. Generally it works on open cycle. So air from atmosphere is first compressed to a higher pressure in a rotary compressor, which is usually run by turbine itself before it enters the combustion chamber. So this is a rotary compressor. You can see it is coupled to the turbine shaft, so it is driven by the compressor, and here the air from the atmosphere is compressed to a very high pressure. So fuel is injected into the combustion chamber where it undergoes combustion. So you can see this is the combustion chamber. So here fuel and air directly mixes and the combustion takes place in the combustion chamber itself. The heat released is absorbed by the products of combustion, and the resulting high temperature, high pressure products expand in the turbine, producing work output. So the products of combustion at high pressure and temperature passes through the turbine, undergoes expansion and gives a net work output. So the used up combustion products are let out into atmosphere. So in ideal case, compression and expansion are assumed to be isentropic and combustion assumed to take place at constant pressure. That means 1 to 2, the compression in the compressor, and expansion 3 to 4 in the turbine are assumed to be isentropic in ideal case, and the combustion process takes place at constant pressure. So this is in the schematic diagram. The PV and TS diagram are shown below. You can see 1 to 2 is the isentropic compression, 2 to 3 is the constant pressure. You can say P2 is equal to P3. Here isentropic expansion, here it's more clear because 1 to 2 is a vertical line because it's a TS diagram. So this is the S axis. So 1 to 2 is 90 degree to S axis. So S1 is equal to S2, isentropic compression. Similarly, expansion 3 to 4 is the isentropic expansion. Now the advantages and disadvantages of the closed cycle or open cycle. So the closed cycle has the advantages of high thermal efficiency, reduced size, no contamination because air directly doesn't undergo combustion, so it just absorbs heat in the heat exchanger. Improved heat transmission, improved part load efficiency, lesser fluid friction, no loss of working media. That means air is circulated again and again. Where in case of open cycle, every time it is let into atmosphere and fresh air is taken. Greater output and inexpensive fuel. Disadvantages: complexity, large amount of cooling water is required. This limits the use of stationary installation or marine use because in stationary installation, suppose if you are not able to get enough water, cooling water, so then it will be a big problem. It's dependent system. The weight of the system per kilowatt power developed is high comparatively and is not economical for moving vehicles, requires the use of very large air heater. So with this I conclude this lecture number 4, and I'll come up with the numericals in 5 and 6, and then remaining theory part of jet propulsion I'll continue in the last two lectures. Thank you.